Well, the new U.S. Secretary of State is about to embark on his first overseas trip since being sworn in as Hillary Clinton's replacement. John Kerry expected to visit 9 countries in Europe and the Middle East starting on Sunday. He'll stop in Britain, Germany, France, and Italy, where he's expected to take part in a meeting with Syrian opposition members. Kerry will then travel to Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. Well, what are the challenges that face Kerry and perhaps this most important leg of his journey, the Middle East? We asked our Flash Brief analyst to weigh in, and as one points out, the U.S. Secretary of State may face questions from Syrian opposition figures because of supportive comments that he's made about Bashar al-Assad in the past. In fact, Kerry said in 2011 the Syrian president had been very generous with him after a visit there.
When Kerry came back from that visit, he was Assad's biggest champion in Washington. He was out there trying to push for a reduction in sanctions. He was encouraging the world to look at the Syrian stock market as a serious investment. In other words, I think that he has a credibility gap going into Syria, and I think that's something that no one is really talking about right now, but it is something that he's going to have to work on.
The trip is important because it's his first trip, and Obama's going to follow in March, so this has a lot of significance symbolically. But frankly, people are not impressed by symbols anymore, and they want the United States to simply put its policy where its mouth is, to actually promote democracy, support those Arabs who are fighting for democracy, to actually be an impartial peacemaker among Arabs and Israelis, to actually apply the international law related to nuclear power to the Israelis and to the Iranians equally.
But you'll notice that Kerry is not going to Israel, which means he's not going to engage the Israeli-Palestinian question in any direct or important way. I think he's primarily there to remind our Arab allies and Arab friends that even though we're out of Iraq and getting out of Afghanistan, and even though we have taken a rather restrained approach in Syria, we have not lost sight of the region. We are still monitoring events there. We're still watching what's happening with the Arab Spring, and we still care. And it's going to be a little bit tricky because they may want a bigger commitment from Kerry than he's going to be prepared to give.
Now, those expectations may be greater in countries like Turkey or Qatar that have been supportive of the Syrian opposition, places where there are distinct hopes the U.S. will actually become more involved.